The 2021 #1 plate has already been held high, but the new national champion still has a chance to rewrite the history books. Can Jake Gagne extend his record-tying 16-race win streak, or will this be the day that someone steps up to snatch victory from the Californians' clutches? It's time to find out right now. It's time for the MotoAmerica AMA FIM North American Road Race Championship. Round 9 of 9 for 2021. It's MotoAmerica Superbikes at Alabama from Barber Motorsports Park. Welcome everyone to a very wet HONOS Superbike race #1. It has been raining on and off for the last couple of hours. I'm Greg White, sitting alongside two-time champ Jason Pridmore. And Jason, it has been a very interesting weekend, but we got to talk about a couple of guys. Obviously, Jake Gagne is one of them because he has been dominant this season, already wrapped up the championship. And we got to talk about the number 85, Jake Lewis, who could win the Superbike Cup title.
Yeah, both of these guys have been riding tremendous all year. They've both won championships already heading into this race. But you know what's crazy, Greg, is when you see this rain come down, there's so many people now that feel like they have a chance to maybe try to go out and win or beat even these two guys in their respective classes. And it should be an interesting day.
Yeah, so let's take a look at Jake Gagne and what he's been able to do this season, Jason, because when you look at this 2021 championship, he has 16 wins, but it's really been the combination of his riding and the team.
Yeah, no question. He's just been on another level this year, and yesterday during qualifying, it was really interesting here at Barber. We had a dry day, and he tipped off on his second lap. He did one flying lap and tipped off, so he was going to be second on the grid. For Jake Lewis this year, really, we just watched this guy come back to our series and dominate. That's what he's done. He's got on this Alta Suzuki, won a bunch of races, won the Stock 1000 championship, and he's leading our Superbike Cup point standings now. I mean, it was just a year or so ago where it didn't look like Jake Lewis was going to be racing in this series anymore, and he's come back with a vengeance.
Taking a look at these two. Jake Lewis, of course, on the Stock 1000 spec machine in what's called Superbike Cup, a race within a race, and he needs to finish within 20 points of Travis Wyman to wrap up that Superbike Cup, where Jake Gagne is trying to seek his 17th win of the season. That would be a new MotoAmerica record and tie him all-time with Nicky Hayden. Let's get right down to Hannah Lopa. What's up, Hannah?
Hi guys, the rain is showing no sign of stopping out here, but neither is Jake Gagne. I talked to him about the possibility of meeting some new records. He got the all-time win tie with Wayne Rainey last round. He has the opportunity for all-time wins to tie with Nicky Hayden, and also most wins in a season with Cameron Beaubier. Well, I think let's get back up to Greg. What's going on up there?
We were just having a conversation about what the starting grid's going to look like, Hannah.
And when we look at it, the big thing is that Cam Peterson is going to be on pole position today. And like we said yesterday, it was dry weather conditions. Cam got down into the 23s. And when you look at what our qualifying from last year, a race lap record last year was 23.4 from Cam Beaubier. And I think yesterday in our first qualifying session, Peterson got down like 23.6, Greg, I believe is what it was.
Yeah.
So Cam Peterson's looking extremely strong. He looked good in the wet this morning. We've seen Cam the last, I don't know, say 3-4 rounds not be as upfront as I know he would like to be, but he looks really strong here in both wet and dry conditions.
Let's welcome in Jamie Howe. Jamie, how's it going?
Hey, Greg, you were talking about Jake Lewis in the Superbike Cup championship scenarios. He needs to finish 20 points ahead of Travis Wyman in order to clinch it here in this first race today. But he's won the last 7 of the Superbike Cup races in this season's championship. And I asked him, when did that switch? What was it that made the difference? And he said, you know, it really has come down to the changes that we've made as an organization. They added 2 new crew members about mid-season. That made a big impact on the way they were able to get their bikes set up. He was able to communicate with his crew chief a little bit better. They were just able to perform better. He himself, he started the season off at 200 pounds. He put in the work in the gym to lose the weight, to get back into racing shape. And he said, I just feel good at this point. He said, I'm out here enjoying riding this motorcycle and I'm enjoying winning all of these races. He needs this money. He needs this championship in order to secure a program for next year. So his eye's on the prize today, Greg.
Yeah, it certainly is. Let's take a look at the track map here. Thank you, Jamie, for that. And Jason, this track is awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be a wet one today, though. Going down to turn 1 will be tricky if you're coming from 3rd, 4th, 5th row with all that mist. Up through turn 2, we've seen some incidents in 3 already. Down into the famous Charlotte's Web, turn 5 out of there. They're going to head down that next chute to the museum corner. Towards the end of the lap, Greg, the 14, 15, 16, we've seen a lot of races decided there, and even going into 17 as they head back onto that straightaway.
Let's head to commercial break. When we come back, we're going to get this race going, so you don't want to go anywhere. They got to battle that water. It's going to be gnarly.
Records are records, Roger. I mean, the championship's been decided, but Jake Gagne has a possibility to do something that, that's never been done before with the wins and the consecutive laps and things. There's one thing about being a champion, but he can be a legend if he comes out of here leading all these laps and takes the wins. Do you think that drives him on this final weekend?
I think he's already accomplished the big goal that he wanted for the year, was to win races and win the championship. But, riders always say we don't think about that, but you know how it is. You want to be in the record books forever. When somebody looks at the record books and they're talking about racing in 20 or 30 years, you want to be the guy that somebody else is trying to catch.
We saw at the last round how the guys need to get out in front of Jake Gagne into that first turn. We saw some guys push hard like Bobby Fong, like Loris Baz. Now you're going to have, a couple other riders on the, out in front of him going into that first turn. I think he's going to be a clutch burner on this start. I think he wants to try and just squeeze that thing out of there and get a good run going into that left.
Well, I think a lot of guys will be pretty aggressive in this first turn. When it's raining like this, if you're not one of the guys in the front, the spray can really be, when it's this wet, there can be a lot of spray and really hard to see. Seeing Cam Peterson, he's been fast all weekend in the dry or the wet. And, I think yesterday he said he was kind of hoping for it to be dry because he had such good pace. Matthew Skoltz, another guy that's won a Superbike race here, 2017, in the rain on a stock 1000 bike. Another guy that was fast this morning in the warm-up as well.
Yeah, several guys to look for. Jake Gagne, of course, going to start on the inside. I think that could be a benefit if he gets a good run because he can kind of push people wide. But one other thing to look at is down in 27th place, Loris Baz. Rain tires or not, I don't care if it's raining or dry. You never want to start in 27th place.
No, missed the qualifier yesterday, was headed to the hospital, get that wrist checked out from a crash in the first practice. So he didn't get a lap, and with it being wet this morning, the second qualifying, they went off yesterday's lap times, and he's got to start 27th. But the good thing for him, hopefully he can come through the field and get a good start for tomorrow's race, too.
We've asked the question, could somebody else jump up and take a victory, somebody that we don't necessarily see? I know Jake Lewis is a guy to look for. All of those stock 1000 have the potential. The bike is there. You don't need the horsepower of the HONOS Superbike. But do these riders, are they going to push it battling with the HONOS Superbike guys today?
What about a guy like Hector Barbera? He has
Yes.
a lot of rain experience, could come here and, maybe be a surprise winner.
That is so true. And again, it doesn't come down to all the electronics and other things that they're dialing in. You put the talent in that guy's right wrist and the throttle, he could make it happen. That's a good call. He's going to start in 5th, so dead center of that second row. He's going to have Josh Herron, looked a little angry in the wet practice earlier. To his right, he's going to have Bobby Fong, always gets aggressive. I don't care if it's wet or dry. He's going to be to his left. Those first couple of rows, these are going to get very busy, I think, this first lap.
Yeah, it's going to be aggressive that first lap. Like I said, nobody wants to be in the back. You can see the spray right there. When you're far back, you really can't see the next corner coming up in the brake marker. So these guys are going to be aggressive early, hopefully not fall back through the pack.
And Cam Peterson, the pole sitter, ahead of Matt Skoltz, Jake Gagne on that front row. Who's going to get the start? It's going to be critical. That consecutive laps led for Jake Gagne is still holding strong. Can he do it? We're about to find out. We sit to the guys next door. Superbike's coming up.
Today's Superbike coverage is sponsored by Geico Motorcycle. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on your car or motorcycle insurance. By Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series. And by Medallia, the pioneer and market leader in customer and employee experience.
Welcome back to Barber Motorsports Park. And Jason Pridmore, here are the qualifying results. Cameron Peterson is first pole.
Unreal. And then Matthew Skoltz, my mistake. He actually qualified second yesterday. Gagne third. Heron, Barbara, and Bobby Fong going to round out those first 2 rows. Then we're going to go to Wyman, Anthony, Jake Lewis, Ashton Yates, Wyman, Travis Wyman, and Corey Alexander. A little further back, Michael Gilbert, Jason Uribe, Andrew Lee, Mike Flinders, Daniel Lewis, Wyatt Ferris. Then we have Dunham, Aguilar, Coffey, Perk, and Baz. This morning, Greg, the reason why we see Baz at the back is because he had a tip-off in practice yesterday morning and he didn't get a chance to put a qualifying time in. So he's going to come from the back of the grid. But he was second or third quickest this morning. Cam Peterson was quickest in the rain, just over Gagne, I believe, this morning. And then Baz, who's still getting used to this racetrack, by the way, didn't get any laps in yesterday's afternoon session. So he did a really nice job this morning putting himself second or third in these wet conditions.
HONOS Superbikes, the highest horsepower motorcycles, around 230 plus horsepower in some of these machines. Also the most sophisticated electronics, but you got to get the power to the ground with these Dunlop rain tires. You can see the rain coming down. Here we go. 17 laps scheduled. The lights off and we're racing. And it looks like Josh Heron from row 2 got a good launch. It's going to be the 32
Gagne.
of Gagne who leads the way. Heron trying to make some aggressive moves early. So all of a sudden, oh, it's side by side. Between
side by side there with Skoltz, isn't he? You can see all these guys now. You see Cam Peterson.
Oh, is this a bid for the lead? It looks like Josh Heron going up the inside of his teammate. So all of a sudden, Fresh Elite Attack Performance Yamaha is going at it on the first lap in these treacherous conditions. Look at Gagne letting off the lever down into Charlotte's Web. He'll retake the lead.
And think about how good we have seen Heron in the wet at other races. Atlanta a few years ago in a bone stock R1, and then he won in Jersey in these conditions as well. So Heron is not scared to go in the rain.
So Josh Heron trying to get aggressive, and that has forced the hand of Jake Gagne, who's trying to win his 17th in a row, and about as tense as you can possibly try to win a race as Jake Gagne out front. Matthew Skoltz now on the tailpipe. Cam Peterson. We're looking in the background to see the progress of Loris Baz, who is just an absolute master in the rain, but he's coming from dead last on the grid. It looks like Matthew Skoltz got to be aggressive and make a pass on Josh Heron. So all of a sudden, the Westby rider would take over second spot.
Very tricky place to do it, Greg. It's a blind entry into there, and he gets up alongside Heron just enough to where Heron was able to see him. I look at Josh trying to roll around the outside of that Westby R1, but off in the distance already, Gagne is gone. He's probably going to have at least a 2-second lead. Cameron Peterson also still staying with these other battle, and then they've pulled a big gap on what looks to be Hector Barbera. But as we come across the line, the very first lap, our leader is going to have almost 3 seconds, Greg, and you can see Skoltz getting it backed in the wet. A little bit further back, it's going to be Barber, Kyle Wyman, and there's Baz.
Already.
Baz has come from dead last, and he's already put himself into this battle for 5th.
Hector Barbera doing an amazing job on a BMW that has about as little traction control as you can possibly get in it. Barbera controlling the rear spin with a thumb brake, but it's all about Jake Gagne trying to set sail. Anything can happen. And look at Cameron Peterson, M4X Star Suzuki, the South African. These two are really good friends, and a little bit of contact.
Yeah, that was Cam and got a really good run, and you can see both riders go sideways simultaneously as they exit Charlotte's Web. Now Cam Peterson, our fastest rider this morning in the wet, has clear track, and Gagne is down.
So Jake Gagne pushing too hard in this one, and he's going to try to run and pick the motorcycle up, and it was that much of a lead already. So now in 4th place, Gagne, got to be careful in that wet grass. So he remounts. So at the moment, his bid to win his 17th in a row.
And just see that Jake Lewis just let him say, hey, go ahead and go.
Yeah.
Because he saw Gagne, he knew Gagne was down. Jake Lewis, classy move by him. But Cam Peterson and Matthew Skoltz are now leading this race with Josh Heron only a tick behind him.
And it is not over for Gagne yet. He was so fast. The question is, what happened?
He gets up over the top of that curbing, and it's very similar to what we saw earlier from Escalante in our Super Sport race. Same exact kind of crash, Greg. Gets in there, and he's already mad at himself before he even comes to a stop.
Oh, and a pass for the lead again, so all of a sudden the door is open. The only other winner we've had this year is the number 11 Matthew Skoltz. He won our very first race at Road Atlanta all the way back at the beginning of the season, May 1st. And he's trying to do it again.
And also, Greg, let's keep in mind, Matthew Schultz there on the 11 has won a Superbike race here before on a super stock bike. I believe that was some 4 years ago now. So
yeah, 2017.
He has won here before, but Cam Peterson is trying to get the power of this M4 Suzuki on the ground and try to get away as quickly as he can. You can see he's finally got a little clear track. These guys aren't mixing and matching as much as they were a couple of laps ago. Loris Baz has put himself into 4th place, so we're going to watch his lap times, Greg. That last lap by that Ducati, you see the red one coming.
Unbelievable.
Minute 44.6 to the leader's 46.4. Baz is on the move.
Could this be the first time in MotoAmerica in 2021 that we see something other than a Yamaha win a race in HONOS Superbike? Here comes the Ducati of Loris Baz. He is on a charge on the Warhorse HSBK Racing Ducati New York entry machine. Hannah?
I caught up with Loris Baz after his crash yesterday. He said he's doing okay, but he's sore, a little bit tired, despite sleeping 14 hours last night. So he's very well rested physically, to say the least. You know, dry qualifying yesterday, he missed today's qualifying, so that affected his starting position. But he loves the rain. Despite not having ridden this bike in the rain or on these Dunlop rain tires before today, he thinks the conditions will be more forgiving of how sore he is. You know, ultimately he wanted to use this this session as a qualifying for tomorrow to get a better starting position, but it looks like he could be in the hunt for a podium right now.
Yeah, the thing, Hannah, we've seen both Baz got into turn 11 a little bit hot. That's why you've seen that gap open up between him and those 3 leaders. Now he knows he's up at the front. He's got 15 laps to chip away, so he just needs to take his time a little bit. And even further behind him, I saw Kyle Wyman up out of the seat as they exited turn 11 as well. So the conditions, Greg, are getting worse as far as there's going to be a lot more standing water. Every lap these guys do is going to be different than the lap before. They've got to keep a keen eye on where this track's starting to puddle up, where it's starting to possibly get some hydroplaning as well.
Yeah, and Loris Baz, if he closes up on this battle, is also going to have 3 rear Dunlops shooting spray into the air.
And Greg, just some reference, fastest guy on the last lap, Jake Gagne. Jake Gagne is coming back. Right now he's in 7th place, and he was the quickest rider other than Loris Baz, just a tick off. And you can see Baz now going around the outside of Heron, and he's moved himself up into 3rd.
So here comes the Frenchman. He is on a charge, and now he's got to get into 2 riders of which he has had battles with on the racetrack during the course of the season. And these 2 riders ahead of him, they have had definitely some, not a lot of love lost on the racetrack. Let's just say that over time. So Loris Baz sees Cameron Peterson, M4X Star Suzuki, Westby Racing, Yamaha's Matthew Schultz, and here comes the Warhorse HSBK Racing Ducati New York Panigale of Loris Baz. And Jake Gagne off in the distance, charging back in 7th place. But right now, Cameron Peterson on the 45, having a great run at it, looks in control. Let's go to Jamie with more on Cam Peterson.
Well, Greg, Cam does have 4 podiums on the season so far, but you have to go all the way back to the first race at Laguna Seca. That was 8 races ago since we've seen him in the top 3. And when I talked to him just before the race, he said, you know, I'm actually looking forward to running in the rain. He said, I got my very first Superbike race win in the rain back in Jersey a couple of years ago. So it was a challenge he was looking forward to. He doesn't know yet what he's doing next year. So he has 3 races this weekend to prove himself, and he doesn't want to lose any of these opportunities. He's very reflective about being able to race one of these Superbikes, and he wants to take full opportunity of all of it.
As they go by that time, Greg, no Josh Heron, and he's dropping quickly down our ranks. And we also see that Jake Gagne has, I think, pitted as well.
Yes.
So both the attack R1s are, I'm not sure where Heron is.
Look at this pass up the inside. Is it going to stick for Matthew Schultz? How aggressive with that. He runs wide at Cameron Peterson, able to square the corner up and drive out. But same thing for the number 11. And so all of a sudden, just like that, look at Schultz trying to find some traction. Left part of your screen, Gagne's in. And all of a sudden, Cameron Peterson gets around Schultz again. That was a lot of the drive. It was just spin, spin, spin for the Westby Yamaha. So all of a sudden, this battle is fierce. And there is Loris Baz watching it all. So Baz's charge was really speedy, but all of a sudden it's kind of stalled out.
He's got time though, Greg, and these 2 guys are going to keep going after each other and pushing the pace. And you can see how fast Cam Peterson is in sectors 2 and 3 here. Sector 1's actually, sector 1 and 2, these guys were just battling. Now we're into sector 3, going into sector number 4. We got greens across the board for Cam Peterson, as this will be his fastest lap of the race if he continues to go. And that's why we've seen that lead just start to grow. I'm interested to see where Heron may have gone off the track, as he's back in 8th place So Josh Herrin maybe just made a small mistake somewhere. Hopefully he can gather things back up and start that charge back up front again.
Cameron Peterson still leading the way onto the front straightaway we come.
How much better is Schultz to that last section? 14, 15, 16, all the way to that last corner. He is some half a second behind when they went into that section, and he pulls that gap all the way back in to get on the back of Cam Peterson. Here's a look at Josh Herrin. His last lap through, Greg, was a 2-minute lap, so he lost some 15 seconds, but he'll just keep going and start charging back.
And his teammate on the Fresh and Lean Attack Performance Yamaha, Jake Gagne, has rejoined the race, what we're told. So he's going to be out there, but his bid at winning 17 races in a row this season is over for Gagne. Wow, I mean, he's on the racetrack, Jay. I mean, anything could happen, but he's going to be a couple laps down at this point.
Well, what's crazy to me is he actually turned a really fast lap even after he had tipped off. So I'm not exactly sure what it could have been that was that bad that he could have pulled in, because he was still actually rolling along. These guys now are into the 43s. 143 for the first 3 guys, and then the next guy back. How about Travis Wyman, Superbike Cup, running 4th place right now. He did a 47. Baz is down.
Loris Baz crashes in this race after such a hard charge from last on the grid. He was making good inroads. It kind of looked like his progress had stalled. He was settling into a pace, but then just like that, the Ducati rider throws it down the road. He rejoins with mud all over the bike.
Yeah, he's got a lot stuck underneath that rear foot peg too. You're going to see him come up over the top. It's going to be probably the same thing, Greg. Lose the rear, and that's all it takes. It just, you lose the rear a little bit, it throws all the balance of the motorcycle off. This is going to throw him into the gravel, and right now there's a big chunk of grass just hanging under the right foot peg of that bike. You can see he's kind of got up and going. It looks like the right handlebar is bent. I wouldn't suspect to see him keep going. These two guys now, who know each other really, really well, are battling up front together. They are going to have a big lead over the rest of the field.
But there's still so many laps to go. 11 laps in this race, in what has to be the most mentally exhausting race of the season for both these riders. Concentration at an all-time high. Just trying to make sure that they are checking out conditions. Each corner is changing, Jason, as the rain continues to fall. And look how good Matthew Schultz is on the brakes heading down.
There's just a couple
turn number 5.
This is what the rain does, though, because depending on bike setups and how comfortable the riders are, what happens is there's going to be places where you feel more comfortable than the guy in front or than the guy in front of you. So this all this section here, when they get ready to go down out of this museum corner through the next fast left right, Cam Peterson looks extremely fast. You're going to see he'll open up a little bit of a gap.
And when you think about Matthew Schultz and that Westby team, you have to go back, and they do have rain experience with this bike, but they don't have rain experience with this electronics package.
Jamie, we're going to have to stop you real quick as Travis Wyman in 3rd place just crashes out of this race. So Wyman, the first rider in the Stock 1000 in the Superbike Cup, the Stock 1000 spec machine, was having a good run at it. He was ahead of his brother Kyle on the Ducati, and Wyman just launches himself in the museum corner, and he's going to be out of this race.
Oh, it's the same kind of crash, isn't it, Greg? You're going to see the rear of the bike come around, and off you go. And for Travis, he was running 3rd overall in this race. He had his brother right behind him. We were going to talk about the 2 Wyman brothers running 3rd and 4th. As you see Kyle headed up the road on that Panera-bred Ducati of his. And there's Travis now. Like, the bike was too damaged, Greg, to keep it going.
Back up front we go to Cameron Peterson, the 45, M4X Star Suzuki, Westby Racing's Matthew Schultz. They're not having anything between the two of them. Meanwhile, behind them, it's just absolute carnage. We've seen so many people hang out in 3rd place as these two continue to push the issue. And there goes Schultz. He's been practicing sideways in the rain. Is he going to be able to slow it down? Cameron Peterson trying to look through the corner, side by side, trying to drive out of the museum corner. And here they go again as Peterson gets a really good drive. Schultz still wide, trying to find it. Look at the bike going sideways. And Peterson regains the lead.
For Cam to keep his cool like that and not be distracted by the fact that Matthew Schultz is backing the bike in downhill in the rain, and keep his composure to continue to look through the corner where he wanted that Suzuki to go, shows me a lot, Greg. Cam's got a lot of confidence right now in these conditions, and really the laps look a little easier for Cam than they do for Matthew right now. Matthew looks like he wants to get through and try to drop the pace a little bit, but Cam looks really comfortable.
And go back to what I was saying about Matthew Skoltz, Jason, and the team didn't have any rain experience with this electronics package and this Dunlop tire. So this morning's session was really what they were focused on, was what they need to do on the bike, and what they landed on was just making a couple of TC changes and just making sure that he had all of the assistance that he needed. You see it at work right now. Everything's played out just as Ed Sullivan, his crew chief, had hoped for.
And a pass for the lead. Again, as Cameron Peterson has a long look over at his countryman and says, hey, that was kind of an interesting pass. Let me just go right by you again.
Yeah, well, the thing is that for Matthew, and Cam Peterson goes down in turn number 1.
Oh, no. So Cameron Peterson, M4X Star Suzuki, was holding onto the motorcycle. He's trying to get it going again. And just like that, in these conditions, Matthew Skoltz is all by himself in the lead. That's going to move Kyle Wyman up to 3rd place.
Right now,
2nd place.
Right now, Cam Peterson's been able to pick the bike up and actually get out of the gravel before Kyle Wyman. So Kyle might go by him, as he's going to have to look at this motorcycle. He loses the front. I was just saying how comfortable Cam looked at the front as well. But that's, again, Greg, these conditions, they catch you out quickly. He was able to get up. I'm looking out my window. I can see him actually ahead of Kyle Wyman now. Matthew Skoltz has a 20-second lead. He's going to know when he comes around, he's going to look at that pit board, 20-second lead. And when you think about everything he's been through, we've talked about it, Greg, it's the best season of Matthew Skoltz's career so far. He wants to win this race really, really bad.
No, he certainly does. Of course, the Westby Racing team just up the road in Georgia, not too far from here. You can look at Road Atlanta and Barber Motorsports Park as kind of home races for this team, with tons of fans out here cheering on the black and gold. Matthew Skoltz, 2nd in points, kept it honest. Jake Gagne all season long. But Jason, it's still 9 laps to go, and the rain continues to fall, and the concentration now at an all-time high for Skoltz, and no one to really gauge off of. At least he had Cameron Peterson a couple of corners, but it shows you the talent level. Matthew Skoltz, I mean, he was so confident going down to turn 5, he was sending things sideways.
There's something, I don't know if he can't see his board, or I'm not sure exactly what's going on there, but he's motioning to his crew, and I'm sure it's making them kind of wonder what's going on, or maybe it's a map change or something. He's trying to get the race stopped is what he's trying to do, Greg.
He's just getting a little bit too treacherous.
Getting just a little bit too much out there. Probably a lot of standing water maybe, and that's what Matthew's actually trying to gesture to some people right now.
So Matthew Skoltz out front, and yes, Cameron Peterson has come across the line in 2nd after crashing. Kyle Wyman still in 3rd. Corey Alexander, the first of our Superbike Cup riders, now in 4th over Hector Barber, Jake Lewis, Josh Herron, Loris Baz, Ashton Yates. So Jay, this is what also we see in the wet conditions. Normally we see crashes that are a lot slower. They don't damage the bike too much.
That's right.
And riders able to pick it up and keep going, as Matthew Skoltz trying to signal to race control that he feels the conditions are too treacherous to continue.
Well, when it starts to get to a lot of standing water, that's when you run into problems, because even the rain tires can't cut through that stuff. But, you know, when you look at someone like Cam right now, he's able to, man, look how good that bike crashed, Greg. It doesn't even look like it's been down. So,
a testament to the M4X Star Suzuki team and how they build these GSXR 1000s, because when these riders are doing it, it's always about how they crash. So Matthew Skoltz continuing to kind of protest here in the lead about the conditions.
Yeah, you can see, because when you come out of that turn 11 area, I believe it is over there, Greg, where all of our loyal fans are sitting on the hill over there. We see you over there, and that little section, though, gets a little bit of standing water, and we've seen some incidents there over the weekend. And even when you come out of this last corner, you go through this right, you go through this left, and there's a lot of puddling on the exit of this corner.
Very experienced race direction in Rick Hobbs. Matthew Skoltz continuing to signal that he feels that it's too treacherous out there, but for MotoAmerica, they have this situation under control for them, but the rain continues to fall. And Jay, really the enemy of any rain tire on a motorcycle is just that standing water. You have experience, FIM World Endurance, a two-time world champion. You've been in conditions like this before. What is it like to be out in the rain right now as the water continues to rise?
Well, what Matthew probably feels like right now is it's just a survival mode. You got to get into this mode, and there's a lot of racers that are running around this racetrack right now that are in that same thing. And yeah, been in conditions like this, Greg, been in conditions like this at night as well, and you can't see the standing water as well sometimes, especially if there's any kind of light that comes onto the track even, it's hard to see where it's actually puddling up really bad. So you can see when they come out of turn 11, he's been hitting some spots there and hydroplaning, and you can see the bike moving around a ton underneath him like it did just now a lap prior. So sometimes the lighting can play an effect as well. It's one thing if you can see everything that's happening in front of you, but it's a lot harder, Greg, when it starts to puddle and you can't tell.
Yeah, and you can see some of the spray coming off the front and rear tire that it's just deeper in some areas than
right there. You see that? You can see that right there, Greg. That's what he's talking about. You can't actually see it as a rider, and all of a sudden you go through what is actually some standing water, and it's a little bit thicker or a little bit deeper than other places on the racetrack, and the bike hydroplanes across it. And if you're going through there and you're just a little bit tipped over, that's when it can catch you out. Right now, he still has a 16-second lead with 7 laps to go. So he just has to keep it on the island right now, do the best he can to just run these smooth lines, stay relaxed on the motorcycle, and go from there.
Boy, you can hear, you can just hear that motorcycle spinning up as he hits those puddles for Matthew Skoltz. Even though sophisticated electronics on his motorcycle, talking about that, how about this rider right now, Jake Lewis? If he can keep it on the island, as you said, Jason Pridmore, the Altus Motorsports rider will win the Superbike Cup Championship as one of our last championships. It's this championship and SportBikeTracker.com Junior Cup. So Jake Lewis currently in 7th place, even though Corey Alexander, who competes as well in the Sportbike Cup, is up the road in 4th place with the lead that Jake Lewis has in this championship. It's 70 over Travis Wyman, who we saw exit out of the race earlier. It would mean Jake Lewis is going to win this championship, but Lewis has got some good riders right behind him.
Herron and Yates. Herron obviously has found his pace a little bit more. He's going to try to get by Jake as early as he can here, and you can see Ashton Yates just right up behind. So right now, Jake, again, he's another one of those guys. He's got something on the line out there, Greg, and he just wants to bring this bike home.
And for Jake Lewis, he's already won 1 race today. It was that stock 1000 race earlier that was also in the rain, so he had seen the racetrack in these conditions. This is the wettest it's been all day, but he at least knew where the water was holding out on the racetrack, so that was an advantage that he has. But you see a couple of the stock 1000 riders that are up inside of the top 10 right now. We're not used to seeing that, but you think about the rain, you can't use everything that the Superbikes offer, so it is just that equalizer that we talk about even amongst the bikes that are out there.
No question. And the 22 is Ashton Yates, son of the famed Aaron Yates, and he is on a Honda. So the 22 on the Jones Honda has made some moves, and he's going to move himself up into what we think is 6th spot currently.
Well, the good thing about Ashton is he's really shown some form here the last couple of rounds. After his incidents at Brainerd, it didn't look like he was going to make it to Pittsburgh. They were able to get a bike together for him to be there. He went fast in Jersey, got on the podium, and Kyle Wyman is down now. Kyle Wyman has crashed out of 3rd spot, and I'm trying to see, Greg, where that is on the racetrack.
Huge disappointment for Wyman on that one Cure Ducati. Out of 3rd place, as Kyle Wyman had talked about trying to get a result in his last bid on this Ducati, as he has made the announcement that he is going to be switching brands next year. Let's take a look.
See, Greg, I mean, that's just losing the front.
Weird.
Just barely picking the throttle up in the last corner, and you saw that front tire tuck up underneath him. He's going to get that bike up and going. That's going to move Corey Alexander now up into 3rd. Superbike Cup competitor. Baz 4th. Ashton Yates 5th. This guy, all the while, has got about 4.5 laps to go, Greg, and he's just got to keep rolling around. He's got a 15-second lead, so nobody's giving him any threat whatsoever right now. But look at the rain, Greg. It is seriously still just coming down so hard out there.
Yeah, and we know that, Jason, a racer's brain has that, I know I can go faster, but I can't because the conditions are so treacherous. Sometimes it's difficult for a rider to back that pace down. They're always searching for traction in these conditions, but right now Matthew Skoltz is doing an outstanding job out front.
It is absolutely pelting out there, and for Matthew, he's just got to do everything he can. He literally can back off, obviously, just a second or two there. He's still in the 45s that last time by. Let's see what he does this time. 46 flat. So that's what we need to see. I'm not comfortable sitting in here watching him back it into some of these corners in the wet. So if he can just continue to do what he's doing, that would be good. Now, this is your 3rd place rider. Corey Alexander now on the Ride HVMC HONOS Superstock Spec ZX10 has positioned himself into 3rd place. Gagne will be a lap down, who just went past him.
And Jason, for those at home who aren't following, Corey Alexander is actually in the Stock 1000 class competing in our Superbike Cup, so he is on a Stock 1000 machine. As far as electronic capabilities go, they're a little bit different, but I talked to the team. They softened the overall suspension and made some changes as far as power goes with torque and traction control, but Corey's really comfortable riding in the rain. You know, he grew up racing flat track in New York and all over the Northeast, so he doesn't mind the bike moving around on him a little bit, and it's definitely paying off in this race right now. Yeah, and without question, too, Jason, Corey Alexander is one of the most talented riders I have seen on the edge of the tire, and so Corey doing a great job. If he can, they've had a rough go at it,
yeah,
has the HONOS Hudson Valley Motorcycle Racing Team as of late. If he can put this thing on the podium, it might erase a little bit of the agita from the team.
Yeah, Jersey was really, really rough. A home race for them. They had a great motorcycle in tribute to 9/11, and it just kind of went sideways from up there. But right now, Corey Alexander, just again, he's got some almost 7.5 seconds over Loris Baz, who's picked that bike up. He's already been down once, has Loris Baz, and he's now running in 4th place. Ashton Yates 5th. As you see now, Schultz coming by out of the last corner. He will have 3 to go this time by, and Gagne. Is that Gagne?
No, that's Herron. That's Josh Herron, who was in 6th place. What we saw earlier was Jake Gagne going around Corey Alexander. He's back in 18th place, and now Herron crashes himself out of 6th.
Same thing, right? It's going to be that rear end just spinning away from him, and Josh gets off nice and easy here. He goes off the low side, but the rear of the bike just spins around on him, gets his hands tucked into his chest. He's going to run over that bike, try to pick it up, but Herron's back out and running again. And this is what rain conditions can do. So Matthew Schultz has an 11.8 second lead over Cameron Peterson. Cameron Peterson, after crashing, has been chipping away slowly at the lead, but there's only 3 laps to go for Matthew Schultz. Corey Alexander still in 3rd. Loris Baz, 6.5 seconds behind Alexander. Ashton Yates in 5th. Rain, the great equalizer, has thrown us one of the craziest races we've seen so far this season. We often wonder, you know, when we started with MotoAmerica, it seemed like rain clouds followed us everywhere, and we hadn't had a good rain race in a while. This one's sufficing for that now. We've made up for it today. It is absolutely pouring, as you can see. You can see people from Westby talking now about, just talking about when do we call it? Is it too wet? Because that's what they're worried about with their rider who signaled a bunch. And you can see, Greg, it's all that standing water. That's the scary part. And you can see just how much water's coming off the front tire. You can see it. It's just absolutely digging in. And it's a testament to, I mean, these Dunlop rain tires are amazing. And you can see, too, Jason, the body language of Matthew Schultz. I mean, one of the things that we're looking at is a rider who's been working on his racecraft, his riding throughout the entire season, and it plays into the hands of these conditions. It was about smoothing out, especially the transition from throttle to brakes, as Kyle Wyman out of this race. Unfortunately, he's going to watch our race leader, Matthew Schultz, come across the stripe. It's going to be 2 to go for the Westby Racing number 11. And look, Matthew knows he's got a huge lead. I mean, he's got a 15-second lead. And he's not just trying to get this race called just to get it called. He's you know, obviously he's a little bit nervous about things right now. And, you know, but he's, again, 2 laps to go. He's got to just continue to do what he's doing. They kind of say it's the same for everybody, but he's doing such a good job. And the things that he's been, and down he goes. Oh, unfortunately, it was just too much. It looked like he kind of rolled off the racetrack. Holding onto this motorcycle. He is surfing right now, trying to get that R1. He's going to try to pick it up. So Schultz still with the lead. He had 10.9 seconds over Cameron Peterson. Here comes Cam Peterson. And there he goes, the M4X Star Suzuki rider. The possibility that Cameron Peterson, after crashing, could pick this thing up and win it. Right now, if there was a red flag, though, we'd go back to the last completed lap and Schultz would be the winner. So now it's all about time. Now this moves Cameron Peterson into the lead. Loris Baz has gotten around Corey Alexander. So Alexander lost the podium for a moment, but still on it. There's a lap and a half to go. Cameron Peterson, the opportunity for the first non-Yamaha to win a HONOS Superbike race in 2021 is upon us, Jason. And Cameron Peterson, this would be an unbelievable feat for him. He works at American Super Camp with Danny Walker, and that whole American Super Camp crew is here cheering on their guy Cameron Peterson, and of course Jake Gagne. It's standing water.
And it was
standing
way
water
out there.
just gets him, and you can see there's just so much standing water on the racetrack. He comes up over the top of that rise and loses the front. The thing that's scary about this is losing a finger when you have your hand up underneath there. Matthew does a wise job of finally letting go of that motorbike, and I just feel horrible for him right now.
Oh, and listen to that Suzuki just spin up on the front straightaway. So the white flag is out for Cameron Peterson. Cameron Peterson has got such a lead right now that he's just got to bring it home.
Well, I'm looking to see who's going to come across in second spot now, because I honestly don't know who's in second. So Cam's come across the line. We know that Matthews got up and got going, and he's going to come across the line in second place as he crosses it now.
There's right around. Yeah.
Cam almost just hit the exact same spot.
I think,
that
Matthew Schultz was way out to the edge, and I think it gets deeper out there. So it is Schultz who's in second place, 21 seconds behind after throwing it down the road. Baz is in third. Corey Alexander has lost fourth position to Ashton Yates. He's drifting down the order, Jason. Is now Ashton Yates again movement out of the 45. And so for Corey Alexander, he is losing positions. We don't know if he actually crashed, but now it's Baz in third, Ashton Yates in fourth, Jake Lewis in fifth, on the cusp of winning the Superbike Cup race. Boy, we hope you got all this, folks. It's the last lap. Cameron Peterson just has a couple of corners to navigate. It is so treacherous out there right now for the M4 X-Star Suzuki rider. What a race it's been. What a race they're going to look back on. And I can't believe there's still as much grip as there is out there here at Barber Motorsports Park with all the standing water. But it shows you what a great job Barber Motorsports has done on the repave. So how do you like this? A couple more corners to go and a 21-second lead. Cameron Peterson has a look around. He's shaking his head. He can't believe it. Can he get onto the front straightaway? I wouldn't even get on the gas. Here he comes, Cameron Peterson, M4 X-Star Suzuki. He will take the checkered flag and the race win. How about that? How about Matthew Schultz? This has got to be one of the angriest second place finishes, I think, of the season for Matthew Schultz. As he threw away that race lead in that standing water, he was just too far out there. Schultz coming onto the front straightaway, and second place to Matthew Schultz. As we await our third place finisher, Loris Baz comes across the line, but here he comes, Jake Lewis. If he can finish off this lap, he's going to be the 2021 Superbike Cup national champion, and he does it. What a year for Altus Motorsports and Jake Lewis. And how about this guy, Cameron Peterson? Jason, I lost track of how many lead changes we had because of
the first three guys crashed.
Yeah, first three guys crashed.
Our podium crashed today. Matthew's going to be very happy for Cam Peterson there. But yeah, there's so many things that you can say right now, and you look at this 43.6 on lap 8, and you can see Schultz is very, very happy for his countrymen.
I mean, I don't even know what to say about this race.
I'm pumped for Cam.
Hey,
I mean, obviously,
good luck to our TV crew on cutting the highlights of this race.
Oh my gosh,
it's going to be the longest
craziest race we've seen in many, many years.
It'll be the longest highlight package ever cut in motorsports history. What an incredible race. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk to Cameron Peterson and find out how the heck he won a race after crashing. Don't go anywhere.
Robbie Floyd and Roger Hayden here with you, and we just witnessed a little piece of history, the first ever HONOS Superbike victory for Cam Peterson in one of the most unlikely ways. And three different guys leading this race, maybe even four, I can't remember, but I had to feel good for Cam Peterson taking that victory, and he's looking up to the heavens, thanking them, but I also had to have that sick feeling in my stomach for Matty Schultz. The only thing is with Schultz, with such a lead, 11 seconds or more with 2 laps left, I cannot believe he didn't back it down more than he did.
Yeah, he was definitely still putting in some really good lap times. He was doing 46s. His best lap of the race was just a 43, so he only slowed down a couple seconds with the track getting as bad as it was with the big lead. You would have thought 2 laps ago he would have slowed down a little more, but you know, maybe he was in a good rhythm and felt comfortable, and sometimes when you slow down you make mistakes, but I would have thought he would have slowed down a little bit more, but you know, he picked it up and still salvaged second, but he's not going to be happy.
It's an exciting one, and there's people, you know, the media centers over near us, and you question the one guy out of all this entire field that can't sit there and ask for the red flag is the guy that's out in front.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough position to be in when you're leading and you want a red flag, especially the first lap that you're leading. You know, it's kind of hard to do that, but after you do it a couple laps, you just kind of realize they're not gonna do it. Try to just get back and focus on riding. And
focus, because this is a salvage race. I mean, right there, you're just trying to keep it on two wheels. You're trying to hold on to a podium. We saw several guys. Who was it? Corey Alexander that was up there in the podium. Norris Baz was there. He drops back. He fights back and comes back. Heron was up there. Gagne's been up there.
What about our podium? Everybody crashed that's on the podium.
Absolutely. Yeah, and even Baz, mud all over the bike, everything else. And two guys that did not want to let go of the clutch lever kept it going, or three guys now, and got that thing up there on the box. That is what a run for Cam Peterson. What a run by Matt Scholz, Loris Baz, and there's a lot of damaged bikes out there. Danilo got to watch it all. He went down in that first turn, and oh my goodness.
He was having a good run going too. He was in that battle for about 5th to 8th.
Rain coming down really, really hard, and you see Bobby Fong, who's...
It's Wyatt.
Oh, excuse me, Wyatt. I can see it in his eyes. I saw the M4 bike. Wyatt, I think, got a point, right? He was right. Yeah, 14th place overall in the Superbike Cup, and you see the congratulations from Jake Gagne. So the streak has ended. Loris Baz, we question whether he'd even be racing today, and he almost got his first victory. He had an opportunity, and he was. The question is, you know, how fast he would be in the rain. He was good, but he threw it away on his own as well.
Yeah, he caught up to those guys pretty quick, and then it seemed like they upped the pace a little bit and kind of tried to stay even. But he looked good, come from very last all the way up to the top 5 pretty quick.
Yeah, once he got up there, it looked like he was almost going to settle into that little, you know, that position in third, watching things go, and then push. And I think he's in some pain right now as well. That adrenaline is a powerful drug, and then when you come off the track, everything stops.
It is, and also, like I've told you before, when it's wet like this, these guys are going almost 20 seconds slower than, you know, what they would do in the race, or close to it, 15 seconds. So it's a little bit easier on the body.
And there's still all of that dirt in the side of that Parts Unlimited Ducati. But, hey, Cam Peterson, congratulations, buddy. The South African, his first victory here in HONOS Superbikes.
Well, Jason, I think the museum corner is about 6, and MotoAmerica riders are 0 in this one, but a lot of crashing here. Here's a look at the results. Cameron Peterson, Matthew Scholz, and Loris Baz, all of whom crashed at some point in this race. Ashton Yates, I think, is the first finisher not to crash.
How about Danny Eslick? Ends up 6.
Yeah.
Slick is back. David Anthony off the couch again. Everybody keeps forcing him back out. Hector Barber and Josh Heron ends up 9th.
And how about Jake Lewis? I mean, in these conditions, able to wrap up Superbike Cup with his... In Superbike Cup, Jason, whoever finishes first gets 25 points, so he gets 20 on this one. Let's get right down to Hannah, Victory Circle.
Well, we'll have to double check on this statistic, but I think this is the first time in the history of our series that all 3 podium finishers have crashed and still finished on the podium. But a career first victory for Cameron Peterson, and we saw you celebrating, soaking it in out there. Tell us about it.
Yeah, what a crazy race. You know, me and Maddie were having a good battle in the beginning, and then I just ran over the paint into turn 1 and tucked the front. And man, I just didn't want to give up, so I held onto the bike the whole way to the gravel trap, picked it up as quick as I could, and then just started, you know, put my head down, hit my marks, try to bring it home, and it's unfortunate I saw Maddie go down in turn 5, so, but what a crazy race, man. I can't believe I crashed and picked it up and still was able to win. I'm honestly lost for words. It's so special having my whole family here, so many friends and family, and yeah, to finish off and get the guys a win like this is so special. So thanks to the team for sticking with me, giving me the best bike possible, and yeah, let's go get 2 more tomorrow.
Congratulations to Cameron Peterson. Let's get over to Jamie Howe with our second place finisher.
It was a different emotion for Matthew Scholz as he came around on that last lap of the race. I saw you, the frustration, the disappointment. What do you take away from the race today?
It was a really difficult race. I was having a lot of fun with Cam, battling out front. I think that the track was fun then, but it just kept on raining. And I think from the halfway point on, we were just hydroplaning and spinning up. And unfortunately, I feel as if I didn't crash from pushing too hard. I just hydroplaned and crashed, but you know, it was whoever kept it upright the longest really and kind of had the quickest crash. But you know, well done to Cam. This is his first Superbike win, and I couldn't be happier for him. He is a good friend, and I know that this means lots to him. And you know, obviously Baz being up here too, we knew that he would be good in the wet weather. So yeah, it's got to go back to the drawing board and hopefully come out swinging tomorrow and try to keep it upright at this point.
Still a solid second place finish for Matthew Scholz. Hannah?
And third place today goes to Loris Baz, who's icing a very sore throttle hand right now. That right handlebar is hanging on by a thread, but you managed to pick it back up and race to the podium. Tell us about the race from your perspective.
Well, it's a super tough weekend for us, and I was not sure I could race today. When I woke up this morning, I felt terrible from the big eyesight yesterday after only 4 laps. So the rain obviously helped me, but starting from the last on the grid was not easy to make the way through the early laps. Then I catch Cam and Matthew. The rain was getting heavier and heavier, and I was feeling a bit worse with the bike and aquaplan. I think we've kind of set up to change tomorrow, and I was still learning the track in that race. So, and then I managed to pick it up and try to go to the end with a completely bent handlebars and go through the pain. I didn't know I was P3 until I crossed the finish line, and I saw all the crew so happy. So I thought Jake was in front of me, you know. So it was just so strange to think I was on the podium. So hats off to those guys. They did a great race, and it was maybe one of the worst races in terms of condition in my life, but I still had fun.
Well, a third place finish today for Loris Baz means that he will be starting on the front row of our grid tomorrow, far better than from last today.
Yeah, podium may be nice, but that pain, he'll be thinking about it. We'll have more when we return to Barber Motorsports Park in a moment.
You can see tears coming through the eyes of Cam Peterson there, and I like what I heard from Matt Scholz, not making too many excuses, and knew he had the opportunity was out there for the victory. But congratulations to Peterson, and that adrenaline starting to wear off for Loris Baz as well. So that was a hard-fought podium. Anybody that could get up there, he kept it up, right? And I think what Matt said, you know, whoever crashed the quickest, really kind of, that was a factor. Matty doesn't skid for quite so far. If it was a slower speed turn, he still might have had a shot to win that race.
Yeah, Matt slid for a long time. If he would have crashed, and maybe once he got into turn 5, he might have been able to picked it up and kept the lead. And, you know, we talk about it all the time when people crash. I'm always talking about go pick up your bike, go pick up your bike.
Every time you say
this is the reason why, you know, you pick up your bike and you finish the race.
Didn't we see that, remember, last year at New Jersey with Sam Lockoff? That really showed me a lot of character out of Sam Lockoff. Picked it up and did basically what these guys did. The difference was Lockoff was for a podium. Cam Peterson takes his first victory. His 5th podium of the season and his first win in his HONOS Superbike career. And that's a man in pain there on the right in Loris Baz. Chris Ulrich accepting the manufacturer's trophy there. And Cam Peterson, M4 X-Star Suzuki, Haggerty Insurance. I said it last year. I thought he could have, podiumed, and you knew he would do well when he was in the Stock 1000 racing against these guys. When I showed up this year, I was looking for Cam Peterson to maybe take a victory. I didn't really expect it to happen the way it happened today.
Well, I don't think anybody really expected what happened today with the rain and stuff, but we expected Cam to be quick. And everybody in the pits is happy for Cam Peterson. He's a great guy, one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. He's paid his dues, and he deserves everything he's getting right now.
Jake Lewis wraps up the Superbike Cup Championship, I believe. He needed 5 points. He's going to finish in 5th place. Another strong run by him, just behind Ashton Yates as far as the Superbike Cup riders. We still have 2 more HONOS Superbike races left this weekend. We've got 2 races tomorrow. Rain is in the forecast. I hope we don't see what we just saw today. Rain's one thing. That was a torrential downpour. But again, Cam Peterson, Matt Scholz, Loris Baz, your top 3. Let's hear what the guys have to say next door. Let's send it over to Greg.
Today's Superbike race coverage has been sponsored by Geico Motorcycle. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on your car or motorcycle insurance. By Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series. And by HONOS, the apparel brand promoting talent within the adrenaline sports realm.
All right, we're back at Barber Motorsports Park. Wanted to show you the points. We know that Jake Gagne has wrapped up this championship. Skoltz now 92 points back. Cameron Peterson and Loris Paz. You can see that Josh Herron is in 5th spot. Bobby Fong in 6th place. So there's a couple of little battles going on for position in the final championship standings. And we know that Jake Lewis has wrapped up the Superbike Cup Championship. We'll be back with more in just a moment. Stay with us from Barber Motorsports Park.
We still have one more race to go, Roger. The rain is coming down. We don't know if they will send out the SportBikeTrackGear.com juniors at their regularly scheduled time because it is still raining pretty hard in the, you can see from the pictures. Man's got a cute little umbrella there. I'd go for a more cool full coverage umbrella, Roger. I'd have one of the big golf model.
Yeah, it looks like he's not really too worried about the rain, though.
Right. Rain is coming down hard. This is our second day of 3, and it held off the entire first day. You see the pooling of the water. It's one thing to have rain, you know, like the top of your screen there, have rain on the tarmac, but when it pulls up, and we saw these guys with all that horsepower, the bike just wanted to jump out from under them, even on the straightaways. You know, a straightaway bike doing that's another story.
Yeah, the track being wet is, you know, not bad, but when you start getting those puddles and stuff like that, that's when the riders can start to hydroplane. We've seen some guys crashing that were straight up and down, so these guys will make sure, especially before the Junior Cup race with the kids, they're going to be a little less experienced, so the track's going to need to be a little bit better for them.
We get safety man Dan out there going to do the inspection for the sanctioning body. And they'll make that determination here in just a bit because, again, originally scheduled to start basically at the top of the hour, or 10 minutes past with the race for the juniors. But, again, Rick Hobbs, the race director, the FIM North America Safety Officer, Dan Argano, Michael Martin, the rider representative, they'll make that call and decide. Easy up, man. That's one of the best things that ever came to motorcycle racing, isn't it? I mean,
especially for the fans.
Yeah. Yeah. Juniors, the championship still yet to be decided. It's the only class that we have not crowned our champion. Ty Scott is the points leader in that one. Ben Glotty still with a shot, has a chance. There's the fans over there. Hello, how you doing, ma'am? You got that full coverage umbrella over there. Those trees, I'm telling you, it's a great vantage point. Also blocks some of that rain as well.
Also, for when it's real sunny, get over there and block the sun as well.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll be walking away from that umbrella too much out there, but if you do, go check out the MotoAmerica merchandise trailer. Also, Go Fast, Don't Die. Go check out the Go Fast, Don't Die shirts over there, their booth. It's right next to the Shaggin' Wagon or whatever. Go Fast, Don't Die. Over there in the fan zone. Thank everybody coming out here to MotoAmerica, the MotoAmerica Superbikes at Barber. I'm Robbie Floyd with Roger Hayden. I hope Weege doesn't melt, man. He's been out there in the rain all day long, but we have wrapped up our HONOS Superbike, the final race of the day. We still haven't heard word from that. Is the SportBikeTrackGear.com junior. There's that merchandise booth from MotoAmerica. I wonder if they got any raincoats. I've got mine. I don't know if they sell this one, but if they do, you need to go check it out because it is the best raincoat I have of any sports I've covered. You know, sent to the guys next door.
Welcome back to Barber Motorsports Park after HONOS Superbike race number 1 of 3 on the weekend. As Cameron Peterson with Chris Ulrich enjoy top of the podium in Superbike, and our crack team in the tape room have come up with a highlights package. Jason Pridmore, take it away.
Oh, you're going to give it to me, Ari. Yeah, I don't even know where to start. This was how it is. Everybody got down into the museum corner, loses the rear. This was early, and we thought, oh, it's not going to be that eventful. Jake Gagne's gone. But these two actually had a really good battle before the real rain started to come down hard. They started having pretty good places to pass. Cam Peterson then goes down to turn 1, and right now I'm sure he's thinking, I'm done. But with 3 to go, Matthew Skoltz hydroplanes, and This might be the longest slide we've ever seen, Greg, ever. And he finally gets stopped down in turn 5, and Cam Peterson inherits the win.
What a job Cameron Peterson has done. And it shows all 3 of these riders who crashed and finished on the podium. Hey, young riders, never give up. Jason, final thoughts on this one?
Just crazy race, and I need to know, are you going to be able to make through 2 of these tomorrow if it rains?
Boy, oh boy, it is going to be gnarly tomorrow, especially if these conditions are the same. What a way to start HONOS Superbike final race weekend. We still have 2 of these to go tomorrow. Race fans are treated to something very special, a race which we will soon not forget. Jake Gagne still on the quest to win number 17 of the season and break the record for wins in a season. Well, for Hannah Lopa, Jamie Howe, and Jason Pridmore, I'm Greg White. We will see you tomorrow at noon East from Barber Motorsports Park. Thanks for joining us. Congratulations to Cam Peterson.